Now they say the most formative years are the years up until your 8th birthday. It's when the brain soaks up information like a sponge. It doesn't really question anything and it helps to shape and mould your character. My journey started off in an area, London, E9, which is Hackney. And I understand now why people say to you that your surroundings can have a lasting impact on you. Now the flat that I lived in was a 2-bedroom masonette. It was my mum, her brother, me, my 2 brothers and our pets. No joke when I say this. We'd go into the kitchen, turn on the light, you'd look down and what you'd see would seem to be like hundreds of cockroaches that would just scatter like the way you've got gassed. Growing up was like your sort of typical 8-mile story, should I say. My mum was quite poor. She worked 2 to 3 jobs. And in fact, I'm going to stop for a second and say that woman is an absolute angel. Now my dad, he was a fleeting man, didn't really do too much for us. But one thing that he did do was he made a bit of money and he bought us this big detached house in an area called Surrey. Imagine being transferred from an area that's cultural, you're comfortable, to an area that is completely, predominantly not that. This was like our first traumatic experience. When you're in an area where you stand out, you're going to try and do whatever not to fit in. And that's exactly what happened till I got kicked out of school. And then after that, all I did was loafing. Just petty nonsense, hanging out on streets, in gangs, underage drinking. And it wasn't until I experienced my first defining moment that I decided that things had to change. Now, a defining moment is when the universe, God, divine spirit, energy, whatever, just intervenes. So what happened to me is I've been rolling all day with my pals, been jumping on loads of buses, we've been using flashers. Let me explain what a flasher is. Basically, a flasher is when you get a bus pass or a travel card and you scratch out or you cut out numbers from another bus pass and you put it together to create one that's in date. So I've been using these flashers all day. Last bus rolled up now. I jumped on the bus, showed the bus driver my flasher, he let me on. I did a pass back to my brother and then the bus driver collared him and kicked us off the bus. But I remember walking home, going to bed, waking up the next day and I get a call from one of my pals and they said that the people on the bus, 4 of them, had all got arrested. But then a couple months later, the same boys, 4 of them had been sentenced and they got 4 to 7 years. And I remember just thinking from that moment, 100% things just had to change. Now in my mind, change was go and get a job. I got an IT apprenticeship. I was working for 4 days from 9 to about 5:30 and then I'd do 1 day of college studying IT. All of that work, all of that time and they were paying me £100. We're talking about traveling, we're talking about eating. And at the time I was doing a hell of a lot of weekend stunting in the West End on 5 scores. My first career job was a job in customer service, but in my heart and in my mind, I knew that that wasn't the place that I was gonna really get what I wanted out of my life. So my missus, she told me about a job and she told me that people were making 5, 6, 7, some people even 10 bags a month. And I thought to myself, yeah, I'm gonna have some of that. So I jumped ship and my life completely changed. I was able to achieve some absolutely crazy things. At the time I was renting out these crazy properties in London that belonged to celebrities, the type of things that you'd walk in, your jaw would drop. It's hard because you create this sort of reality and this lifestyle where everybody just says yes, everything's accessible. And then one day, bang, all gone. Real talk. Just bankrupt. All of it gone. In fact, all I'm left with is just mad depression. Because imagine being admired like some king and then next minute just being fucked off like some peasant. Everybody goes, scattered, gone. And having maybe 35, 40 grand's worth of outgoing still per month and just not knowing how you're gonna do it. Throughout all the dark moments in my own sort of personal life, from bankruptcy to building something again and going further, one of the things that just kept me going was just having this system. It helped me to expose some of the weaknesses and just gave me things to work on. So thank you for coming on this journey with me. Now you obviously know a bit about who I am and my backstory. So what I'm going to do in return is share this system with you. And what it's going to do is help you expose the weaknesses and then obviously achieve your goals.